And now that things have cleared up a little bit, we can get a nice view of the summertime. I'd love to grab a photo of the important addition to the lot, because in the old days, actors used to claim, oh, I need a shave, I need a trim, and they'd sneak off the lot and they'd go to the bar and they'd have a few drinks and be useless for shooting all afternoon. So we built our own barbershop so we could tell them, yeah, why don't you guys stay here and get that haircut. Now, friends, in just a moment, we're going to be entering one of my very favorite areas of the lot. This is a spot that we call Gripped Alley. So this is where a number of our actual functioning, technical behind-the-scenes shops are located. But as you guys will see, it's also been decorated to look like a sort of a crime-infested urban alleyway. So this is where they actually do a lot of shooting for cop shows that shoot here on the lot, like NCIS LA. So I'm going to pull us over here, and friends, if you'd like to hop out with me here, take a look around. There's a few interesting things here. So the first thing you may notice is that this brick wall over here is not, of course, actually made out of brick. Now, that looks fairly goofy and unrealistic when we're standing looking at it in person, but believe it or not, when you get that up on camera, if it's just a little bit out of focus in the back of the shot, it's almost impossible to tell that it's not real brick. It helps as well if you get some distance away from it. For example, that building way down at the far end there is also not made of real brick, but from this distance it looks realistic. Likewise with our telephone poles, which as you guys can see are a little bit shorter than they should be, those look less realistic in person but are actually more realistic on camera. This way we don't have to shoot at some crazy camera angle from below in order to fit them into the shot. It also achieves an optical effect that we call forced perspective, which is where because your mind's eye sort of knows how big a telephone pole is supposed to be, if it seems shorter, it makes you think that the space is actually larger than it is in real life. So that helps Grip Alley to look a little bit bigger when you're shooting. The bricks that we're standing on are also not real. This is the same asphalt as the rest of the streets. They just heat it back up to its melting temperature, stamped the shape into it, cleverly painted so that it looks real. And you'll notice as well that there are signs on a lot of the buildings making them look like they're something other than what they actually are. For example, the backside of soundstage number 4 is made to look like a laundromat. This is the first of a couple of different backlot facilities that we get a chance to tour today. As part of the special VIP tour experience, we do like to sort of peel back the curtain and take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes shops that go into the creation of the world of the TV show. So if you guys want to follow me back in this direction. Welcome to Set Lighting and Grip, everybody. So one of the benefits of shooting at a facility like Paramount is that you don't just get the space when you rent out one of our sound stages, you also get the use of all of the facilities and amenities that we have available here on the lot, and that includes the use of lighting. So just so they can get the footstep sound effects just right for any given situation. Now friends, across the street here is one of my very favorite areas of the lot. This is what I like to call the world's most exciting parking lot. It's not actually mainly a parking lot, or of course we wouldn't be stopping here. This is actually what we call the B tank, or blue sky tank. It's a giant water tank. This is where we shoot all of our water effects. So as you can see, the wall of the tank over on this side is around the same height as the sort of sloped edge over on the far end. That tank holds 950,000 gallons of water when it's full. Even though it's only 4.5 feet deep at its deepest point, it looks a lot deeper when it's been filled since it's painted blue on the inside. Got a photo here I'd like to show you of what the B tank looked like when they were filming a surf movie called Orange County there. For this shoot, they added dish soap to the water to allow it to kind of crest and foam and get that white cap look, like seawater has. I've got another photo from that same shoot that's a little more zoomed in, and you can't quite see the pictures. I'd like to show you you may recall there's a scene where Tom Cruise is doing his love interest, sounds like down at the beach house. He drives up on a motorcycle as the sun is setting. It's all terrible. Now all of the exterior shots of that scene were shot in the old beach house in Malibu, but all of the interior shots were actually shot here behind the medical services tent. So if you pull around the corner from here, you can just recognize your surroundings. Can you see it there? This up in front of us is the Lower East Side. As we round this corner, we'll see the metal fire escapes of Soho up there in front of us. Turning left here, we'll have the Upper East Side on our left-hand side, and on the right there'll be a little island in the middle. That's meant to be Greenwich Village. And way up in front of us is Washington Square Park. And over here on our right, the Financial District. So as I mentioned a second ago, New York Street has been designed to be very customizable, so that no matter what production is shooting here, whether it's set in the 1920s, the 1950s, they're able to customize the look so that it fits with whatever production is shooting. So if you look at customized features of New York Street, you'll notice, for example, that there are no streetlights out in the streets currently. Modern-looking L-shaped streetlights today, or whether they want to use the sort of more old-timey iron black lamp posts. Either way, you plug those streetlights into these panels that you see here in the sidewalk. They do actually turn on at night, so they are fully functional, but that way they can customize what time period they'd like to be here. Likewise, you'll notice there are no doorknobs on any of the doors. That's because that's one of the clearest visual indications of what time period it's meant to be. Like so with the sconces, the light could be more flank the doorway. As you guys can see, there are holes in the wall there where we drilled them in. Anyone want to take a guess as to how many bricks the other construction works with the door? This is all that same vacuum mold as we get close to some of the buildings all brought to life with motion capture. So when you do your digital design of that character, you program in a matrix of dots that correspond point for point with the triangles that you see here on this fabric. So that way this the actor can be wearing this costume on set, they're moving around, and then you can map those movements exactly with the digital character later on and preserve some of the physical expression that the actor may have brought to the role. There's a whole other room back here, my friends, that's also interactive both costumes. I guess I'll just give you back this way. Once again, now you'll see If anyone happens to have seen the Pixar movie The Incredibles, the character of yeah, exactly, Edith Head is based, or rather, Edna Mode, the superhero costume designer, is heavily based on Edith Head. Did you guys know that, or did you just recognize?
We learned it yesterday.
Oh, very cool. Somebody's out there spilling tour secrets. Yeah. When you guys are ready, if you want to head with me back out this way, we'll proceed down the hallway toward the costume jewelry preservation. So what props and costumes displayed along the way? For example, this case, which is entirely filled with props from the various Mission Impossible films. What I love about seeing these all in the same place is that you get a sense for how the prop designers for this series have always tried to emphasize the sort of the small, the covert, the easily hidden on your person, the objects that are disguised as other objects, in contrast to some other spy thrillers which have cars that shoot missiles and other big sort of bombastic elements like that. I'm also very fond of the special camera glasses that the CIA operatives wear in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. At the time, that was sort of cool, futuristic spy technology, and then a couple of years later, somebody invented Google Glass, and so it's very quick the way that science fiction can become reality here in Hollywood sometimes. You guys will follow me down this way. I don't know if anybody else is as big a fan as I am of the Tina Fey comedy Mean Girls. With for the Star Trek fans in our midst, here's a case entirely full of props from various Star Trek products over the years. They're all mixed in together, and from Star Trek 2009, the Frequent series, all the way back to Deep Space Nine, Wrath of Khan, and Voyager, and Search for Spock. This, as well as Leonard Nimoy's costume from his cameo appearance in the 2009 Star Trek film. So Jackie is the head of the company. There are 2,000 objects on display in this office called the Chinese tourist block. China did only attract thousands of I'll draw your attention to the beautiful ornate glass work on the outside of this crown right here. You see those oval shapes? Those are bell buckles and shoe buckles that were soldered together to make that inside. This cameo crown is one of the prized pieces in the collection. It was originally worn by Gloria Swanson, a silent film called Melrose Avenue in 1924. Though, of course, we have a picture here as well of Claudette Colbert wearing that same crown in a silent film called Cleopatra. Cleopatra was a very, very popular movie when it was first released, sort of a sensation. We have all kinds of records of the production history of this film and its reception, but it's one of those movies of which no copy exists today. So, unfortunately, no one living today has ever seen Cleopatra. That photo is also an interesting relic from Hollywood history because it was not too long after that photo was taken that the Hays Code that sort of outlined what could and couldn't be shown on screen in Hollywood, the sort of censorship code was passed. I have a feeling that that costume is a little too risque to pass standards in just a couple years later. Now, if anyone happens to have seen the movie Rango, you'll find a familiar face down here. This is what we call a reference model or display model. This is very much like the Terminator that we saw in the third room of the tour center this morning as we were leaving to begin the tour. Oftentimes when there's a character who's brought to life entirely with computer animation, the CGI artists prefer to have a real physical object that they can refer back to as a sort of a model so they can make sure they're getting all of the details correct. The green board facade was Desi Arnaz's house. Now, after their divorce, Desi would parade his new girlfriend's pastors to make her jealous. One afternoon, she decided she was fed up with that, and while he was in there taking an afternoon nap, she called some workers over and had them very quietly kick the door shut. So when Desi Arnaz woke up, he discovered he'd been entombed in his own dressing room and had to crawl out the window in front of all of his employees. Very embarrassing experience. I hope you learned that you don't mess with Lucy. The Lucy Park area is also actually, to this day, a plant replica of Lucille Ball's garden at her home in Santa Monica. She had it planted that way not because she was feeling homesick from working at the studio all day, but because being a working woman in the 1960s, she came under a lot of fire from the press who were saying she should be at home taking care of her kids. So she had the garden planted to look just like her garden at home, so she could bring her kids with her to work. They could step out on her lunch break and take a couple photos in the garden. She could send them to the press and say, look, I'm home playing with my kids, and then go right back up to running the studio. Now, over the years, Lucy Park has also been used as a shooting location for a number of different television shows. In some of the clips in this little compilation, you'll see a kind of a gray archway structure that used to stand in front of this building right here. We're eating it, so we had to take it down a couple of years ago. But otherwise, I think you will recognize your surroundings in this. I suppose you have to be lucky to look. I certainly hope as well if they ever replace the sign that they'll preserve that piece of property. It seems to me to be an important relic of television history. So friends, we'll jump back on the phone.
have some creativity, but at the same time, you have to adhere to a certain structure. Exactly. Yeah, the show needs to, at the end of the day, make sense and have something else. So that's why you have these issues. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things about writing, is the collaborative aspect of it. Definitely. I mean, it's really hard workload for somebody to write a whole season of a show. So it's kind of delicate and so yeah.
What is it? Tinted. So once again, you guys can take as much time in here as you'd like to look around, but when you are ready to head to our very final stop, it's going to be the studio store just on the other side.